here we are back in the caravan. I just thought I would do a quick video on talking about why caravanning for us. I mean, hopefully you've seen so far we've upgraded our caravan very quickly. We jumped into caravanning last year like so many other people. So you know, why? So for lots of different people, the same answer would be the same. Lockdown happened, we couldn't go anywhere, caravanning seemed to be an easy option, so let's try it. For us, there's sort of an added story, I guess, as to why caravanning works so well for us. And that is to do with our sort of unusual family situation. You've seen my husband, I think, some of the clips out. You've seen my kids on some of the reviews. That's not the full story. I had children early on. I adopted 2 children, had a birth daughter. My husband then became sort of stepfather to those. So there's a big gap before we had our next 3 children that you see in the videos. Additionally to that, we live in an extended family too. So we gave up our rented house in London. My in-laws sold their house in Leicester, and we bought a house all together in Leicestershire. So kind of a take on what's happening in a lot of families at the minute, where we're blending families, but we didn't move into their house and they didn't move into ours. We created a new family kind of situation, if you will, which has been just the best decision we ever made. I mean, you know, we live in a house that is just lovely, that we could never have afforded in London. The kids absolutely love, you know, life in the countryside, and my in-laws, I hope my father-in-law doesn't mind me mentioning, has been quite poorly. He was terminal at one point, but due to the wonders of stem cells, he is now perfectly well. I mean, you know, we have a lot of drugs in our house, but he has done he is stunning. You would never know. He's strong as an ox. Looks that way anyway, but he deals with a lot, but you would never know. But the theory was that eventually we would be looking after them, so that would be the end story. My mother as well, who is still in London, was planning to come with us. I think she realised quite early on that the melee that is our crazy house was a bit too much. If she could have a little granny flat down the end of the garden, she'd be happy with that. But no, she was not up for jumping into the absolute noise, mess and craziness that is my house. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, is just the most amazing woman for just like, yeah, come in. She won't ever shut her door. She won't ever tell the children no. Makes parenting interesting, but she's just the most beautiful person. And the noise and mess and everything, I'm sure, well, it does probably bother her, but her and my father-in-law are just absolutely wonderful people. And we have not just a saying on our house, but a plaque on our door before we enter the house that has the Latin phrase risus et nod. Sound very posh there. I really literally don't know if that's how you say it. And it means smile and nod. And that's pretty much how we get by all together in our house, is you just smile and nod. Actually, most of the things that niggle you and bother you are really not that important. And but you know, the things that kind of seem like important at the time, they're really not. Let's look at the bigger picture, and that's what we do. We really so happy in our family situation, even though it's quite unusual. And obviously I have my children who are grown up now, still in London. They come visit. My eldest daughter, she decided very early on that she was going to have children, and we have grandchildren too. So we have a very sort of unusual house. I have 3 grandchildren, 2 of which are older than my second set of 3 children, one who is just 3, 4, sorry, oh dear, sorry, but crazy house, crazy life. We have lots of visitors, or did, before lockdown. So long story made very long there, we have an unusual situation where caravanning becomes even more important for us, because this lovely thing is our home. So we have a home that we share with our in-laws, and it is amazing and harmonious and wonderful. But to have our own space where we just go and be our family, not a blended family, but just our family, our time, that is massively important and has become much more important over lockdown, when we are obviously all stuck in the same house, aren't we all? But our unit is 2 units. So for us to get away even to the caravan on the driveway for a night is a break, a holiday, a refresh. The smiling and nodding becomes easier when we've had a refresh. So for us, that is what happened, why caravanning became important. The lead into why caravanning, I can trace back quite exactly to a very particular morning. There was no caravanning, not an option. My dad used to caravan, again, complicated family tree. He remarried and had children, and they used to go caravanning all the time. Was never for me, never for me. He would say to me, Helen, do you want to borrow the caravan? You know, it's great. And I'd be like, no, you're all right. If I'm going to go caravanning, I'll have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, static. Thank you very much. Why would I want to go caravanning in a little tiny box on wheels? Are you crazy? I literally was, no, not for me. Didn't think it was for me. So if there's anyone out there that's thinking, crazy people, why would you want to be sat in a box for, you know, a week, 2 weeks? Honestly, that was me. It really was. And unfortunately, my poor dad died before he ever knew, before he could ever shake his finger at me and say, Helen, I told you so. Because now I'm an absolute convert, to the point of being quite annoying, I feel, to a lot of people. But the very, very precise moment I switched from no, don't be silly, never going to do that, why would I, into this is the thing we need to do, I can trace it back to a particular Sunday morning when we had camped in a tent the night before in the garden. My husband is an amazing husband, an amazing father, and he will often do things that he doesn't want to do, has no interest in doing, but he knows that's what a good father does, okay? So he ordered a tent off Amazon. We all got in the tent. It was a couple of months into lockdown. We all had a night in the tent, even though we'd had one night in the tent before in the garden of our old house, and he absolutely hated it. We had another night in this tent, and he absolutely hated it all over again. I, on the other hand, just thought, oh my goodness, I love this. I think just having, like I say, a blended house, a blended family, just to have one tiny little space where all of my family, we just have one big king-size blow-up bed, and we were all just sleeping on it in the garden, and I was just in my element. I just thought, this is just where my happy place, just to have my family in my, you know, in our little cave. We have a little bear cave that we call it in our bed at night when we all have cuddles before bed. So it was my little bear cave. We were all together. So my husband woke up sort of stretching, uncomfortable, you know, awful night in a tent, did not sleep at all. I then started to think, oh my goodness, camping is not for me. I don't want to do this every night, because this is not my home. I've just set this up and we've sort of thrown ourselves in there. I don't mean that. What I mean is a home that I could have my cups and my ornaments and my bedclothes, whatever, just my home. And caravanning just then, from that second, became an obsession. And I would say it was probably about 4 weeks from that Sunday morning till we bought our caravan. We bought our caravan on my husband's birthday. It was like, there's a caravan, we have to go see it. And by then he'd gone along with me, don't worry. He was happy to go along. And we looked at the caravan on his birthday, bought the caravan on his birthday. It was the biggest switch around of any person, and I think anybody that knew me at the time, especially my stepmother, who, like I say, my dad has unfortunately not with us anymore, but she probably had a little chuckle to herself because she was there many times with my dad telling me how amazing caravanning was, and honestly, I have to tell you, Dad, you were right. I love it. I'm obsessed, and caravanning is the way for me. So that is why we came about caravanning. We also, by the way, have two dogs that you probably may not ever see because we obviously don't always bring them because they sort of they're the family dogs, so they stay at home a lot. So sometimes we haven't ever stolen them. We steal them away when we're on the driveway, but we haven't actually stolen them away to go on holiday. So that's something obviously hopefully in the future we want to do, but they're not, they're not our dogs, they're our dogs. So again, our unusual family situation makes things like that slightly different to most people. The other issue is my children. I want my children to come with me, my older children, my grandchildren, and yeah, the caravan allows us to sort of get away. We haven't had dogs with us, we haven't had any extra children with us. Lockdown has made that impossible, but as life goes on, because we are caravan people now, there is no going back, I'm sorry. As we move forward, we may get to share with you some of my grandchildren, some of my other children, my older children, and some of my dogs, maybe. But for now, this space, our lovely caravan, is our second home. It's our home away from our blended home, and it becomes ours when we are here. So I get to make all the rules, all the choices. I get to decide if we're having rubbish for dinner or what tea towels I might like, or what furnishings I like. This is mine. Whereas in our home, we have to share, we have to make decisions together, we have to be a lot more compromising about what we want and what we don't want. And I adore having my home on wheels that I can take anywhere, and that is why caravanning works for us so well. So I hope you enjoyed that. Rather long. I wasn't quite expecting to talk quite so long. I hope you enjoyed my rather detailed story of backstory of why we chose caravanning. I'm sure there's many people out there, same reason, maybe not same reasons, but similar reasons. Some people just thinking, look, lockdown, I'm going to do it, and then I'll sell the caravan at the end. For us, we have seen the light. This is the life for us. The kids love it. We love it. It is the lifestyle that we will not be giving up very soon. Even once lockdown is over and the borders are open and we can go, we'll likely be going in our caravan, I would imagine. So hopefully, if you're thinking of caravanning, if you're thinking, no, why would I? That was me. So you never know. You may change your mind very, very soon.